I decided to segment men into 3 categories, and you can choose who you're going after based on their frustrations that they're dealing with. So if we put men into 3 categories of the ones that are most desirable, average, and then least desirable, I want to talk about their online dating experience because I get to talk to them all day, all 3 of the categories. All right, so let's start with least desirable.
Okay.
This guy is sending a slew of messages and no woman is responding, and he is wildly frustrated. This guy could send 100, 200, 300, nothing. And there's a decent segment there that are just, they're frustrated. So women, these guys are going to end up sending you not great messages because they are so frustrated that they're just like, I'm going to copy and paste. I'm going to say whatever nonsense. I don't know what works. I have no clue. So women, I apologize for these guys. They're having a tough go. They don't mean to project that onto you. So we apologize. Then we got the average guys. These guys are also dealing with frustration. They're frustrated because they're sending a good amount of messages and not getting many responses. So once again, they're trying to figure out what to send, and they may send not great messages. Now, our most desirable men, they've got options. Women are responding at higher rates. If they probably have a date or 2, sometimes 3 or 4 in major cities a week. And if they want to go on them and they have time, they do. If they don't, maybe they just pick the best one, or maybe they're not even that crazy and going on it that much because they've got busy jobs and they're going on one every 2 weeks, but they've got options. Now, how do we interact with these? So obviously the lower tier, I'm sorry, we're probably not that interested in them, but the average guys and the high quality guys, we want to get a hold of, right, Michelle?
Yeah, so are we talking about these lower quality guys? We're talking they're kind of the duds. Maybe they have a terrible picture, nothing in their profile, or they're completely ill-suited based on age or location or whatever the case may be. Is that who we're talking about as far as these guys we're just setting aside here?
Great question on how we're categorizing. Kind of what's desirable to women, and I think what's desirable is obviously 1, we've got looks, 2, we've got education and business acumen or like career potential, and then good family, good job, good housing situation, just and articulate, can socialize. So all these things that we're trying to figure out, they're not doing so well on.
Yeah, and maybe those profiles maybe don't even seem real, or they seem a little suspect, like they might be a little shady. So we're setting those aside for purpose of this discussion.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
Yes. So that's perfect. So we're avoiding those folks. Then the average guys, well, let's talk about the top tier guys because we all want to get the top tier guy. So first thing is be realistic. Men are only judging you, unfortunately, at least from the get-go, is on your attractiveness. Let's just be honest.
Mm-hmm.
These top tier guys, the first thing that hits them is she in my level attractiveness wise? So if the guy is a 9 or 10 and you're a 4 or 5, there's some disparity there. So let's be honest with ourselves. Let's not waste time. We want to be efficient. But of course, if you're near there, rock and roll, let's get him. So this guy, the big thing about him is he's got options. So you don't want to make it tough for him. We talk about like men need to chase, and you're absolutely right. Men do need to chase, but online, we need to get out there fast, and we need to get on the date with these top tier guys. Once you feel comfortable, get on the date. Reason being, like a woman like Michelle, if Michelle was single, once, if I got to go on a date with Michelle, obviously she's married, but anyway, if I was going on a date with Michelle, once I meet her in person, I'm going to be like, oh my God, she's got beautiful hair. She's stunning. She's got this magnetic personality. And once I meet her, I fall in love with Michelle. And now I'm going to chase her. I'm going to call Michelle. I'm going to text her. I'm going to invite her on a second date. But until we go from online to meeting in person, Michelle doesn't really exist in my world. She's
Right.
a figment of my imagination. So Michelle can ask me out online. Michelle can be like, Mike, would you like to go on a date sometime? And I'll love that. Does that make sense, Michelle?
It does, and yet I think that feels like scary or awkward for a lot of women, right? Because they're like, I can't be the one to ask out.
I totally understand what you're saying. It's scary. But once you get used to it, it's totally worth doing. And just to give you some figures, I get 83% of my clients in relationships. 95% of those relationships start by the woman messaging the man. And of the last 11 marriages of my clients that have gotten married, all 11 sent the first message.
Yeah, and I do teach my clients also to send the first message. I'm just wondering, Mike, and I'm saying this only because I know, that I think like a woman and what women say to me. Like if I were single again and I were online dating, I don't know if I would feel comfortable directly asking a man like yourself out that direct. Like what I might say, and I just want to try this on for size to see how this resonates with you. What I might say is if we, send a message back or forth, or I initiated a message, I might compliment you about something or make a comment about something in your profile or whatever, or in one of your pictures. And then I might say something, it seems like we have some interesting things in common, and I think it's fun to connect in person. I'd be open to meeting for a cup of coffee or whatever. Like I would open the door for him to say, oh yeah, that'd be great, or yeah, let's meet for coffee or whatever. I just don't know for my personality, if I would feel comfortable being so direct to say, you want to go on a date.
Yeah.
That feels masculine to me, and I feel like it might for a lot of other women out there. So I just want to run this past you, see what you think.
Yeah. And I'm so glad you brought that up because, no matter what advice I give, anyone watching this, you need to feel comfortable in what you're doing. And so if Michelle, wants to stay on her feminine side, but still accomplish what we're trying to accomplish and get this done quickly and get the right man fast, that's beautiful. And she stayed on her feminine side, but she still got my message across. And now the man can be masculine and get credit for being like, hey, yeah, let's go on a date. And so he's like, or would you like to go on a date? So now he's getting credit for the ask out. So that's beautiful. And both messages are really asking the same thing, but one's definitely more feminine, what you said. So I'm happy any way you want to go, as long as the end result is getting to the date quickly.
Yeah, and I do like that idea because I do think there can be missed opportunities for one thing, and I also think there can be these cyber relationships. Like I had a client a few months ago who was exchanging messages with this man who lived several hours away, but he came into her area from time to time for business. So they had this back and forth going online for a period of time, and she really got enamored with him and really thought this had some really great potential. And then when he finally came into town and they finally met, it was a flatliner. No attraction whatsoever. And she was so incredibly disappointed because during this period of time they were getting to know each other online, it seemed like there was some potential. And in person, she felt like he showed up as a totally different person than who she expected and was very disappointed. So no one wants to invest a lot of time and energy into something that has no potential. We have to sometimes invest a little bit of time, and we never know what's going to have potential because sometimes people are a happy surprise too. I've had clients have that experience, but I think your point of, yes, getting to the point of meeting, because you really can't form a real connection or really date or really get to know someone in a real life way, makes a lot of sense. So I will back you up on that part for sure.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and so now I think we need to talk about these average guys, because I think that's going to be a larger portion of guys, a larger percentage is the word I'm looking for, than the real hunks, the ones, the nines and the tens.
Yeah, so the average
More people are
man,
going to be in that, 4 to 8 range, right?
yeah. And don't get me wrong, like average men can really end up being like a 10.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say average, I mean kind of on paper. And on
Right.
paper, like, pretty good job, decent looking, pretty good finances, good family, whatever. So it looks good. But then maybe once you get to know him and you see his personality, maybe the 4, the 5, the 6, the 8 turns into, oh man, he's a 10. Like he's perfect for me.
Yeah.
So we're just talking about on paper. And these guys, they have a decent amount going on online in terms of messages. So what's cool about them is you can, if we put online into, what are those called? Venn diagrams with the 2 circles and they meet in the middle?
I don't know. You mean like a MasterCard symbol?
Yes. So
I
we've
don't know
got,
what we call it, but I know what you're talking about.
yeah, so we've got the circles, right? And then they overlap in the middle. So we've got men are looking for speed to get to the date, and women also like speed, but they want to feel comfortable. So we got our speed and our comfort, and then they overlap, right? And so with these guys, you've got with the top-notch guys, speed is you better get on the date before he's gone. But with these guys, you got a little more time, and so you can, keep boosting up your comfort level so that when you get on this date, like you're not worried, you're totally excited, you're just ready to go. But ultimately, you need to get on the date with him quickly too. Once again, to resolve that potential issue of having a pen pal that turns out to be a total dud. So we got to get there. And this is wildly important for the man because the man needs to fall in love with your beauty, with the way you interact and get excited about you. And he's not going to be excited. And quite frankly, women aren't going to be excited until there's that beautiful bond together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so, for women, this is another question I want to ask you because I work solely with women, and so I know some of the questions and concerns that come up around online dating. What do you think about the importance of or significance of having a phone call before a date?
That's an awesome question. I try to reserve it. It's a wonderful way to screen. Absolutely. But once again, we're messing with the speed thing. So it slows the process down. So for the top tier guys, they may not be interested unless you're really got everything that he's looking for. But it's wildly important for women that have a ton of options. So if you happen to be a top tier woman and just have so many options, then I love the screen.
Mm-hmm.
I occasionally do get those clients where I'm like, why the heck do you need me? Like you've got everything. Beautiful, good job, great personality. Like, I don't know why I'm here. But anyway, with those women, like we send 50 messages and then like 40 guys want to go on a date with them, which is just insane. And we're like, oh God, we have a lot to funnel through here. So maybe the 40 turns into about like 15, 18 guys that may make sense. And we want to narrow that down. Well, then we set up a few phone calls. And the key here is how you implement the phone call. First of all, you got to commit to the phone call only being 10 or 15 minutes.
Amen, brother. You're preaching my gospel there.
And you've got to pitch it to the man correctly and word it exactly like this. I was wondering if we could have a phone call. He says yes. All right. I'd like to talk to you on the phone for 15 minutes. And if it goes well, then we'll set up a date. This is so magnificent because if you don't just say, hey, can we talk before we go on a date? Or can we talk first? If you just say, I was wondering if we could get on the phone, he's going to go, okay, there's another barrier to me getting on the date. And I have no idea how long this barrier is, if I'm going to have to do multiple phone calls. I'm scared. So he needs to understand when the end of this is and what the outcome can be. So you're giving him hope.
Good point. That is a really good point. So you're building in the reward in the way you state it. You're letting him know how long it's going to be, first of all, 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. And you're letting him know if it goes well, then there will be a date.
And it's got to be worded that way, or you're going to lose more men, and you don't want to lose them. If if the guy's excited about you, he's no problem 15-minute call. Absolutely not. He's about it. Does that make sense?
And you know what, Mike, I want to ask you another question about this. This is another reason why I feel like the 15-minute limit is a really good amount of time for that call. First of all, it does give you enough time to kind of get a sense of each other. And then you really do want to get on the date if there's potential there. But also, in interviewing men, I've had several men tell me something like this, and see if this rings true to you. If a man talks for a long period of time to a woman on the phone, like an hour and a half, which women can easily do. We can talk for a long time, a lot of us on the phone. I can get on the phone with my girlfriend or have lunch with my girlfriend and talk for hours. So, but if a man talks that long with a woman on the phone, it's almost like his interest, instead of increasing, can actually wane, because he first of all feels like he's learned so much about her, and he also can feel like, well, she's just so available, and maybe some of his connection or relationship needs were already met by that phone call. So he might not even feel as motivated about asking her out. And I always compare it with my clients to, like, let's just say you go to a concert, your favorite band or artist. And, they'll typically come out and do one of their best songs is the encore number. And everybody's like, whoa, wants more. You're like, I could have listened to that all night. And everybody kind of leaves wanting a little more. I kind of feel like that's kind of the note, maybe not quite the excitement as a concert, but that's kind of the note you want to leave that phone call on. What do you think about all that?
I mean, you're so spot on. I know we both have our mutual friend, John Gray, and he talks and does a lot of science around this. And I'm just going to reiterate what he says. But first of all, we love men with testosterone, right? A man with a lot of testosterone is like masculine, like, he's going to be the one that when you're ready, rips off your clothing, amazing, passionate time. He's going to treat you like a woman. He's going to pay for things. He's going to take care of you. Testosterone, we love it in a man. Now, what happens with these hour-and-a-half conversations, or really conversations in general, even when you're talking to your girlfriend, you produce estrogen in these conversations.
Yeah.
When you make the man do an hour-and-a-half conversation, he starts producing estrogen. Right. And his testosterone starts going down. And for women, that's great. They can have a lot of estrogen, and they're going to do just fine. But when a man gets it, it's like saggy boobs and he gets depressed. And we don't want that man. We don't want the depressed man, the low testosterone guy that may not be able to even get it up. We don't want that. So we need to not make him do the hour-and-a-half phone calls.
Yeah. I mean, I do. I appreciate you remembering and bringing that up, because I know I've talked to John about that more than once, about how the testosterone levels go down in a man, estrogen levels go up. And we don't want that man to turn into our girlfriend. We want that masculine man with his testosterone levels high. At least most women do, for the most part. So I'm glad you brought that in. So that's a whole nother reason why the short phone call really works. I didn't mean to go too deep down that rabbit hole, but I think it's an important point. Yeah. We're having a lot of fun today anyway, right, Mike?
Yeah, we always have fun.
I know, and hopefully it's fun for the people that are watching and they don't think we're a couple of goofs.
Doing the best we can, guys. We're trying.
Exactly. So now we have this understanding about the different kinds of men online, and kind of a little bit about how to navigate interacting with them, which I think is very valuable. And I think that's important. I like the way you've divided them into the 3 categories. And some of the ladies out there might go, and I think I've only seen category 1, but there are men. You've heard this too. Remember, a lot of new people are on in January or February.
Yes.
So, Mike, I know you have this. Well, before we get into that, I want to ask you about how men view profiles of women. What's their experience when they look at profiles of women? We already talked about how looks is the first thing they notice. So our photos are important. Anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the photos have got to be spot on. Men are so visual, and it is what it is. We've got to accept it. They want someone that they're attracted to. The good news is we are attracted to almost everything, which is phenomenal. All right. So anyway, he's good pictures. We're attracted.
You're attracted to almost everything. Is that what you said?
As men, we just are, which is great. All right. So we're attracted, right? So we find someone we're attracted to. Now, if we're looking for a relationship now it's wildly important what's in the text. And what we're looking for is we've thought about the 5 things that are really important to us, and maybe we haven't formally written it down, but men know what they want, or at least they may not know what they need, but they know what they want. So they've thought about what they want, and if you've got the things and you look good, he's probably going to message you, or if he's lazy, he may not message you. But this is the process. Good looking, and oh man, we could have a great life together because we have all these things in common. This has got me excited. And hopefully what's going to get him really excited to message you is if you made it easy for him to message, where you've got super specific things that he can ask a great question about, or maybe even you end the profile by saying like, ask me what my favorite vacation ever was and I'll tell you. And so now he's like, oh, I don't even have to think about something intelligent to write. I'm just going to ask her that question. And so that makes his life easier. Sometimes making it easier for a man is wildly important, because if he can't think of something great to write you, he may just move on because he's like tired of being rejected. Remember, most of these men are sending messages and getting a response rate of 8 to 15%. And sometimes some men are getting way lower than that. So he may just move on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it is important to have an awareness for women to have an awareness about not only what your own experience is or has been up to this point online, but what also the experience of men might be, and to actually have some compassion for that. That doesn't mean you have to choose those guys that are obviously completely misfits in terms of being a match for you, but having some compassion. And I like this concept of making it safe or easier for them, because if you think about a man being rejected over and over and over again, it has to take a lot of courage you're a man, Mike, you tell us. It has to take a lot of courage to put yourself out there again and again and again with that kind of experience.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I'm a different breed of man. I have zero shame. So I will just send and send and send. And if no one responds, it's fine. But normal men, they get upset. It's like, and that's more rational than my way, but it stinks. And, no one wants to experience that. It's like I'm putting myself out there and, the person isn't interested. Oh, so that sucks.
Yeah, that doesn't feel very good. So, and one thing I always advise my clients to do too is, if there's interest or if there's even just a little bit of possibility there, to kind of warm your messages up a little bit. Not that you have to be really super flirty or have a come on line in your message, but a little bit of warmth, just a little bit. You know how you can sense and you can feel the energy behind an email or behind a message, even if you don't intend it. Sometimes if you're in a cranky mood, you shoot off an email and you kind of go, wow, that kind of has a tone to it. You didn't maybe even intend it. But I think that the same is true for online, just warming things up a little bit, just in the way you say things.
Absolutely, yeah. Just warm it up. I think the way you got to think about it is so when you're responding an email to maybe someone who's a lower level than you or equal level, and you're one of those people that gets hundreds of emails a day, you kind of really fire one off real quick where they're like, do you need blah, 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 blah? And you go, yes, period, send. But if it was someone, let's say 2, 3, 4 levels higher than you, if that exists, and they send you an email, instead of writing yes, you go, dear John, hope your day's going well. Thank you so much for the email. Yes, I'm going to have that back to you by 5 p.m. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. So kind of over communicating, using more words, it's like the over communicating is really important and makes someone feel a little warmth. So
Mm-hmm.
you kind of want to treat it like you're talking to someone a few levels up in the job line. Does that make sense?
It does, and that was a good example. It's a good example, and not necessarily that someone's above you, but it's just like it's a courtesy, it's a respect, and it's a warmth and a softness that I think men particularly resonate with in women. I mean, I know that's something that I strive for in my own life, is to communicate with warmth and with caring and with concern for the other person. Now, am I perfect at it? I'm sure I'm not, but I strive for that. And I just think that really makes a difference in all of our interpersonal relationships, and that energy can be felt through the pixels online.
Yeah, you are good at that. Your emails are always very well written and do come off very warm.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Mike. So I know this is kind of a little bit of the meat of your system. You have this system for helping women get massive results online. And I know a lot of women want to hear this because a lot of women, let's just say, haven't had massive results online up to this point. So you want to share a little bit about that with us?
Absolutely. I don't want to go too much in the weeds, but basically what I want to tell women is message a ton of men and ask them on dates. And, women always come up to me and they're like, Mike, I've been messaging women. And a lot of the time they don't I've been messaging men and a lot of the time they don't respond. I'm like, well, how many did you message? And they're like, 4, 8, 12. Like, that's not enough numbers. I'm talking about messaging 50 guys and seeing how that goes. And if that didn't go well enough, message 100. And if that didn't, 150, then 200. And so what the system I teach is very simply like a big funnel where it's basically 50, 12, 1. And I don't want to go too far in the weeds of how we do it, but we message 50 guys. I expect 12 of them to want to go on a date. And then every single week when we have 12 options, we just pick one.
Mm-hmm.
And every week you pick one from 12, and you repeat this about 6 to 8 times, and you find someone you like. And we don't need to overcomplicate it any more than that. If we have these kind of numbers, you're going to get high-quality men to go on dates with.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the system. And then, on how to optimize and how to do it faster, we send 50 messages in 20 minutes. So don't get intimidated like, oh my God, how am I going to ever find 50 men? I can show you guys how to find 50 men and actually get good quality dates and do it quickly. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, it does. And you and I have talked about this before, and I'm playing devil's advocate just because I know what comes up with women. So some women here are going to be thinking, well, I can't even find 10 men I want to message. I can't even find 50 men, Mike. I mean, come on. So, that's going to come up in the minds of some women here because they've been out there and they're looking at the duds and they're like, I can't even find 10 people I want to message, let alone 50. And I'm only playing devil's advocate because I know that's in the mind of some women listening. Not to give you a bad time.
No. I hear that all the time too.
Yeah.
There's a few pieces to it. And trust me, I totally understand. I've done online dating. I've done online dating with hundreds of clients. I know what's out there for all ages in all parts of the country.
Right.
And I get it. It can be rough out there. But the major things are, if you're near one of the big cities, first of all, there is good guys out there. And they are at all ages. And it's even insane. Before I used to say like, once you're above 65, you may be in trouble. I've now got an 80-year-old client, and there's literally 2,000 options for her in her age range. It is a new world out there. There is options for everybody. Anyway, you need to give folks a chance. And what I mean by that is, let's say we're grading men on their looks. There was an experiment done, Michelle, a number of years ago where they had women rating men on their appearance based on a picture. And 0 to 10 scale, what do you rate the guy? And women, let's say he's a 4. Then they let the woman talk to the man. for a while. And then they had to re-rate his attractiveness. If he had an amazing personality, the re-rate of the 4 turned into an 8. On the flip side, if they rate someone a 4 and terrible personality, 4 went down to a 0. So what this experiment showed is that women could move men 4 full basis points of attractiveness based on personality. And so what I've seen over the years is most people find attractiveness between 8 and 10 to, really an 8 to get married to. But the conversation, that's usually a 10. But the attractiveness is an 8 and above. So what we're looking for here is so we can message folks and start going on dates with men that are 4 or higher with the potential of them having a great conversation and getting to, a 10 or an 8. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It does. And for women with men are usually attracted or they're not. So it's different for men, right? If a man's either attracted to a woman or he's not, and it's not going to move 4 points in either direction. So I want to make that distinction because I actually think that's important to know. Because if a guy is attracted to you, he's attracted to you. If he's not, it's okay. It's just good to know that that's probably not changing.
So you're so spot on, Michelle. And just to come full circle on the science, they did run the exact same experiment with men. And let's say he rated a woman a 7, and then she had an amazing personality. The 7 only went up to an 8. So men can only move women 1 basis point based on personality. So yeah, you're not moving very far with a man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And in some ways, I think that's nice because he's either attracted to you or he's not. If he's attracted to you, you're golden, right?
Yeah, it's great news because it's like yes or no, and quickly. But with women, yeah, it could be a while. And what's also great about men, let me toot men's horn a little bit, is on average, they know if they're going to fall in love with someone by date 2. So that's good. They know if they're in by then. Now, I got to play devil's advocate for you. And women are probably like, well, what about when he's been saying, I want to meet your friends and family. I want to go on vacation with you. I see a future with you. And then come date 10, all of a sudden he's like, we need to break up, or he ghosts. Well, although he did make his decision by date 2, new information has developed between date 2 and date 14 or whatever you're on. And now he's decided it's not a match based on whatever the reason is. So he is allowed to change his mind is what I'm saying, but he does make a decision on average by date 2.
Yeah. Well, and the other good news here is that I think for women, it means that there is the potential of attraction growing significantly with a good guy when you get to know him and you get to know his character or his qualities that you find incredibly attractive. So, Mike, I want to just give you a chance to leave us with any last thought or piece of wisdom before we wrap up.
People are, I hate to talk about the negative, but negative motivates. Tony Robbins loves to talk about pain motivating. And there's a lot of pain around being alone. And I'm not trying to make you feel any pain, but just realizing this, that means people want attention and want to start going on dates and want to find their partner. So now is the time to take advantage of that. Not to mention, in a lot of industries, people have time off. They're sitting at home. And when you're not doing anything, that's when real loneliness sets in. So hop on there. People, you have an active audience just sitting there. So go do online dating. And for those folks that are like, all right, I'll do this online dating, but like, I've got this crazy awesome job and I'm a busy person and I want to do this efficiently. Well, then you folks come talk to me because I'm going to optimize everything for you. I'm the one with the data from Match, OkCupid, and eHarmony. So we'll get everything spot on to a T, backed up by math and science. So I'm not guessing at what we're doing. Everything's math and science based. And we'll get you rocking and rolling faster. But everyone else, get out there. Now's the time. Everyone's ready for you. So guys, thanks for listening. And Michelle, thanks for having me on here.
Thank you so much, Mike. It's been great. And thank you all for joining us. And we hope you'll join us for more. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.